In this video, we will be covering the basic navigation of the user interface in FreezerPro. This tutorial will be presented using a manager type user role in the system so as to show all of the interface but the administrative settings that the admin role would include. Each section that a lesser privileged user may not have access to will be noted throughout the tutorial. We will begin our general overview by discussing each of the major sections of the FreezerPro user interface. In the top left corner are two names for your FreezerPro installation, a short name on top, which is usually the abbreviation for your lab or company, and a long name on the bottom. These names can be changed from within the virtual machine console in the display name settings. Next to the display name is the FreezerPro information button. By clicking on this button, a window will be displayed with details about your current FreezerPro version, your installation edition along with number of user seats, and your product number. This information is very helpful when contacting Ruro support for assistance. Displayed in the upper right corner is the username information for the user that is currently logged into the system and the logout button. Clicking the logout button will end your session in FreezerPro and return you to the login screen. Covering a large portion of the screen is the currently open tab. In this case, it is the default home screen. In this view, we can quickly navigate to our currently owned samples or boxes by selecting the respective links, or open our user preferences. In the About section, we may view the FreezerPro information window again, or view the Terms of Use and Privacy Policy windows by selecting their respective links. In the Support and Feedback section, you may view the FreezerPro user guide or download it as a PDF. You may also select the Ask a Question link to be redirected to the Ruro website in order to submit a support inquiry. Last, you may select the Our Products and Services link to be redirected to the Sales Information section of the Ruro website. There are a few other tools to use in the general user interface. The Heart button represents your Favorites section. When viewing a box, you may decide to add it to your favorites. By selecting this tool, you may view any of your favorite boxes and select it from the list in order to jump straight to it. This is a very useful tool if you are often working in a few select boxes. The tool with the barcode icon is the batch search tool. With this, you may choose to perform a batch search of boxes or vials. Whichever you may choose, you will be presented with a window in which you may scan as many box or vial barcodes as you would like to search for. When you have entered all of the barcodes you would like, you may select the OK to perform the search. The Actions menu is a conglomeration of shortcuts to be used within the system. We will not cover each action in detail in this video, however, you may see many of the different shortcuts to specific actions that are available in this tool. You may quickly add a new freezer or a sample type, perform an advanced import or samples update, jump to your samples or boxes, perform searches, browse samples, and much more. The Quick Search tool can be used for just that, quickly searching the system for a sample, box, vial, or other by many different means. To perform a search, simply begin typing the first few characters of a sample name, barcode, user ID, or any other search criteria, and the system will begin narrowing down the results for you. Next to the Quick Search bar is a magnifying glass. This is the Advanced Search tool. With it, you may perform an advanced search of samples, boxes, or sample sources by selecting the respective option. Performing searches and advanced searches will be covered in a separate video tutorial. In the left-hand panel of the user interface are the main navigational tools. There are several sections that are viewable based on user role rights. The first, and likely most important section for most users, is the Freezers and Boxes section. Every user has the ability to view this section by default. However, you must have the Work with Freezers and Boxes role right in order to manage any storage configurations. In this section, users may navigate the freezers, subdivisions, and boxes within the system. They may also add freezers, boxes, and subdivisions to hierarchies if they have the ability to do so. This is the core navigational tool within the system. To open a freezer, subdivision, or box, simply double-click on it. A new tab will be opened in the main view. The next section is Samples, Groups, and Sources. This is usually the second most important navigational panel in the system. In this section, users may navigate quickly to their samples in all freezers, their pick lists, sample imports, and their smart folders. Users will be able to navigate to all of the samples that they have access to in the All Samples in All Freezers section. If a user does not have access to a specific freezer, they will not be able to navigate to any of the samples within that freezer from this tool. Users may also view their samples according to expiration dates and the Samples by Expiration Date tool. Users may view any sample groups they have access to in the All Sample Groups tool. Users may view any sample sources they have access to in the All Sample Sources tool. For this, users must also have the role right to work with sample sources. Users may view any boxes that they have access to in the All Boxes in All Freezers section. The staging and receiving area is used for importing samples into the system as a sort of holding area until there is a place in the system where the samples can be placed in storage. Again, this can be covered in a separate video tutorial. The All Samples Out of Freezers tool is used to view all of the samples in the system that have been taken out of their respective freezers. Again, users will only see those samples which they have access to. The My Trash Can tool is used to view all samples that you have deleted but have not sent to the samples archive. When samples are removed from the trash can, they are then sent to the samples archive. The Samples Archive tool is used to view all of the samples which have been permanently deleted from storage. As with all other aspects of the system, users will only see the samples that they have access to in the archive. The third major section is for reports and audits. In order to view this section, a user must have the Access Reports and Audits role right associated with their role. In general, the default roles that have access to this section are the Administrator, Manager, Power User, and User. The Guest default role does not have access to this section. The tools associated with this section of the software will be covered in their own respective tutorials. However, for user interface overview purposes, we will note each tool. In this section, we may view graphs and statistics, such as freezer load percentages and overviews. We may also view user activity by date, user, freezer, and sample type. We may also view deleted vials by date, user, freezer, and sample type. And the Browse Audit Log tool permits you to view a list of every action that has been performed in the system either today, yesterday, within a week, a month, or its entirety. Last, we may view all samples by creation date, by owner, by sample type, sample source, and sample group. The fourth and final section of the navigational panel is the Settings and Preferences section. In order to view this section, a user must have at least one of the managerial role rights, such as Manage Users. By default, the Administrator, Manager, and Power User roles have at least one of these rights, while the User and Guest roles do not. As we have covered in the prior administrative video tutorials, in this section, we may manage users, roles, user groups, sample types, sample source types, user-defined fields, box types, report templates, aliquoting templates, and system preferences. This concludes the General Use Navigating the User Interface video tutorial. Up next, we will discuss working with storage configurations. To review, there are two main sections of the user interface, the main window and the navigational panel. Users must have the necessary role rights associated with their accounts in order to view each respective section of the navigational panel. The Actions menu contains a long list of shortcuts for performing common actions in the software.